Good evening and welcome to the Connecticut Department of Transportation's Public Information Meeting for proposed project number PP-168-003, which we will refer to simply as project number 168-003 throughout the presentation. This project involves intersection improvements of Route 6, 61 and Quassapaug Road in the town of Woodbury. My name is Jennifer Usher, and I will serve as the MC for this evening's meeting. I would like to welcome everyone who's taken the time to tune in for tonight's presentation. We hope that this will be informative and we are able to answer all of your questions and address concerns so that by the time we are done, you will have a better understanding of this project. Our agenda for this evening's meeting will be first to explain how you can participate in the virtual meeting environment. We will then introduce the project team. This will be followed by a presentation of the project, which will detail the existing conditions, purpose of the project, proposed solutions, as well as the associated impacts, benefits, and cost. And finally, we will open it up to our question and answer session. Before we begin the presentation and introduce the project team, I would like to go over a few housekeeping items and explain tonight's format. Our presentation will last approximately 25 to 30 minutes, and once complete, we will host a live question and answer session. You will have three means of communicating with us. You can send an email to dotpproject168-003@ct.gov, or you may leave a voicemail at 860-944-1111. If you joined us using MS Teams Live, you can also use the chat function, which I will explain how to use on the next slide. The project team will monitor the project email, phone, and chat periodically during the presentation and Q&A session. The questions asked by any of these methods will be posted to the MS Teams Q&A chat window. We will read all the questions out loud for the project team to answer. You can ask questions at any time during the presentation, but we will address all comments and questions during the live Q&A session. A recording of tonight's entire presentation, including the Q&A session, will be stored on the project webpage. The webpage may be found at PP-168-003. Lastly, please remember that you can ask questions or provide comments through April 15th, 2022 via email or telephone. The MS Team chat function is only available during tonight's live Q&A session. We would like you to know that no person shall, on the basis of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation or subject to discrimination in the development of this project. A civil rights flyer is available. We would greatly appreciate it if you could fill out the voluntary post-meeting survey for the department. The results of this survey will help us improve these public meetings going forward. The links to both the civil rights flyer as well as the survey are located on the previously mentioned project webpage. I will now hand the presentation over to the project team.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Marissa Paffinger, and I lead the Department of Transportation's Project Development Unit within the Bureau of Engineering and Construction. With me tonight is Project Engineer Ed Saborn and members of BL companies, including our MC, Jennifer Usher. The PDU is overseen by Division Chief Michael Calabrese and also includes Project Manager Emin Basic and other engineers. However, it is just Ed and I present this evening. At this point, I would like to turn it over to the town of Woodbury for any introductory thoughts or comments.
Good evening. My name is Barbara Perkinson, First Selectman for the town of Woodbury. This virtual public informational meeting tonight is to hear comments from you, the residents and drivers who travel Route 6, particularly at the intersection of 661 and Quassapaug Road. The Connecticut DOT has identified this location that should be considered for a potential improvement project based upon the occurrences of high-speed crashes with one fatality in 2018. DOT is now considering a substantial redesign of the intersection that would be in addition to the previously done signage and markings. This public virtual meeting is to provide findings through investigations and discuss possible solutions. Please understand that no funding has been identified by the state as yet for this project. Our vision with regards to this project is one of safety for all drivers to reduce and/or eliminate serious crashes due to speeding. That is our main interest for all, safety, with any type of vehicle. We appreciate the efforts and the collaboration with the DOT in addressing the concerns of town officials, police officers, and the traveling public. Thank you.
The Project Development Unit's primary role is to scope and initiate projects along the Connecticut roadway system. More simply put, we are the group that gets to dive into the areas of concern, then brainstorm and develop solutions and alternatives for improving these areas. The purpose of tonight's meeting is to present one such area of concern, the intersection of Route 6 at Route 61 and Quassapaug Road, and solicit your feedback about the two alternatives we have developed. Once the presentation is complete, Ed and I will be available live to answer any questions you may have or receive any comments. It is important to note that this meeting is part of the concept development phase. It is one of the first steps in the project development process and is an early part of the overall timeline for a project. At this point, no funding has been allocated for the design or construction of this project, nor is there a schedule for when construction activities may begin. Our goal is to engage early with the public and to solicit your feedback. That being said, assuming support and initiation of this project, another opportunity for public comment will be available during the preliminary design phase. At that time, the design team will have more information to share, including any updates to the estimated cost, a schedule for when construction is expected, and any design details that may have been refined or modified from the concepts you will see tonight. At this time, I will turn the presentation over to Project Engineer Edward Saborn. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Edward Saborn and I am an engineer in the Project Development Unit at the Connecticut Department of Transportation. I will be delivering the remainder of this presentation, which will cover the project location, existing conditions, purpose of the project, the proposed solutions, and the impacts, benefits, and costs associated with those improvements. Question and answer session will follow the formal presentation. This project is located at the intersection of Route 6, Route 61, and Quassapaug Road in the town of Woodbury. Route 6 is a high-speed rural roadway that provides an east-west connection between Watertown and Woodbury. The nearest traffic signal to this intersection is approximately 2.5 miles to the east in Watertown and 3.5 miles to the west in Woodbury. Overall, this is approximately a 6-mile stretch of uninterrupted, high-speed, free-flow traffic. Looking at the existing conditions of this intersection, let's begin with an overview. Vehicles on Route 6 flow freely through the intersection with no traffic control. Route 61 and Quassapaug Road are stop-controlled side streets with median islands separating the in and out maneuvers. There's a channelized right turn from Route 6 westbound onto Route 61 northbound. There's also a bridge to the east of the intersection that carries Route 6 over Lewis Atwood Brook. The most recent inspection of this bridge shows that the structure is in good condition. Approximately 5,000 vehicles per day use Route 6 at this intersection. The speed limit along Route 6 is 45 miles per hour. Average speed of vehicles along this stretch of roadway is 49 to 54 miles per hour, and the 85th percentile speed is 54 to 60 miles per hour. 85th percentile speeds are the speed at which 85% of all vehicles are traveling at or below. Conversely, only 15% are traveling above 54 to 60 miles per hour along Route 6. Route 61 has a posted speed limit of 40 miles per hour, with an average speed of 48 miles per hour and an 85th percentile speed of 53 miles per hour. Quassapaug Road is posted for 30 miles per hour, and we do not have available average speed or 85th percentile speeds for Quassapaug Road. An important aspect of intersection safety when dealing with stop-controlled side streets is the availability of adequate sight lines to the main road. Proper sight lines allow vehicles entering from the side streets adequate time to determine the speed of oncoming vehicles and find an appropriate gap in traffic to enter the main road safely. At this intersection, there are poor sight lines from Quassapaug Road looking both left and right through the inside of the curve on Route 6. Roadside vegetation also affects the sightline. Existing guide rail can contribute to poor sightline visibility as well. The recommended intersection sight distance is 555 feet. The existing sightlines are often not 555 feet, depending on the fluctuations in vegetation and leaf cover. The skewed alignment of Quassapaug Road also makes turning your head to view the sightlines even more challenging. Other concerns with the existing intersection layout involve the turning movements from the side streets, Route 61 and Quassapaug Road. The large islands that separate the in and out maneuvers on the side streets create overlapping left turns, which can cause driver confusion when determining who has the right of way to turn off the stop-controlled side street and trying to find the gap in high-speed Route 6 traffic. Those overlapping left turns are shown in the blue lines. There's also a channelized right turn from Route 6 westbound onto Route 61 northbound that can be driven at 30 plus miles per hour and has a yield point with much slower moving vehicles. That conflict is shown in the orange lines. Crash data at this intersection was reviewed over a 3-year period from January 2018 to December 2020. Overall, there were 12 crashes resulting in 13 injuries that can be directly attributed to vehicle turning movements at this intersection. The crash patterns shown in red are angle, head-on, or T-bone crashes of vehicles turning off Quassapaug Road and onto Route 6. There were 7 crashes with 8 injuries over the 3-year period, including a fatal crash in 2018. The crash patterns shown in blue are angle, head-on, or T-bone crashes of vehicles turning off of Route 61 and onto Route 6, and over the 3-year period there were 3 crashes with 5 injuries. The crash patterns shown in green are rear-end crashes along Route 6 heading eastbound. The frequency and severity of crashes at this intersection are overrepresented when compared to other stop-controlled intersections with similar amounts of traffic across the state of Connecticut. There is a definitive pattern of high-speed angle crashes that are resulting in injuries at this intersection. And as evidenced by the fatal crash in 2018, there is potential for these crashes to be very severe. Proposed design solutions are developed to address the purpose of the project. The purpose of this project is to reduce the occurrences of high-speed angle crashes that are resulting in injuries. The goal of any proposed design is to provide the biggest possible improvement while minimizing the impacts and cost of a project. 2 conceptual designs were developed for this location. Design option 1 involves intersection improvements to the existing stop-controlled layout, and design option 2 involves the construction of a modern roundabout. Design option 1 proposes improvements to the existing stop-controlled intersection layout, which would involve slight alignment adjustments to Route 61 and Quassapaug Road to make the angle between side streets and Route 6 closer to perpendicular or 90 degrees. This modification would improve a driver's ability to view the sight lines from the side streets. This design would also remove median islands on Route 61 and Quassapaug Road as well as removal of the channelized right turn from Route 6 westbound onto Route 61 northbound, and instead construct a deceleration lane for right turning vehicles. The sight lines from Quassapaug Road, looking both left and right onto Route 6, would be cleared extensively. All work is expected to remain within the existing pavement area, except for modifications to existing drainage catch basins, pipes, and outlets necessary for the removal of existing islands. The proposed pavement area for the final condition is shown in dark gray. All disturbed area that will be planted with grass or landscaping is shown in green. As a result of these improvements, a reduction in crashes would be expected. However, the possibility of a high-speed crash would still exist. These improvements are a relatively low-cost and low-impact design that can still be considered for implementation. There are no utility impacts anticipated, and there are no rights-of-way acquisitions anticipated. Rights to grade or slope easements may be needed. It is anticipated that the construction duration for this project would be one construction season, meaning March through November, and would realistically only take a few months. All traffic will be maintained during construction, with alternating one-way traffic being used only as needed. The total construction cost for these improvements is estimated at approximately $2 million, with the engineering costs estimated at approximately $500,000. The total project cost is estimated to be $2.5 million for these improvements. Design option 2 is the construction of a modern roundabout. This option would require slight alignment adjustments and minor widening on all 4 approaches. Splitter islands, truck aprons, and a center island, which are standard roundabout features, would be constructed. More details on these features will be provided in coming slides. This design would require modifications to existing drainage catch basins, pipes, and outlets. Sidewalk and pedestrian crossings would also be constructed across all 4 approaches. Splitter islands are an important roundabout feature. They serve an essential purpose of providing curvature necessary to slow vehicles down before entering the circulatory portion of the roundabout. The curves are designed so that vehicles enter the roundabout at approximately 20 miles per hour. The splitter islands also help to visually narrow the roadway, which makes drivers feel mildly constrained, leading to a reduction in speed. The splitter islands also provide an opportunity for small trees or other landscaping. The next important roundabout feature is the truck apron. The truck apron is a slightly raised concrete ring on the interior of the roundabout that is utilized by large tractor trailers. These large vehicles require extra area for the trailer to track across that regular passenger cars do not require. The front wheels of the truck cab remain on the pavement, while the back wheels use the truck apron. This can be demonstrated in the picture in the upper left-hand corner. The center island, as seen in the bottom left-hand picture, also serves an important purpose, alerting drivers of the approaching intersection. Gateway signing or landscaping are encouraged to provide visual strength to alert drivers of the upcoming roundabout. Here is a demonstration of how to operate a roundabout, whether you are a vehicle, cyclist, or pedestrian. Vehicles are shown with the pink lines. Vehicles approach the circulatory roadway and slow down to approximately 15 to 20 miles per hour. They yield to the circulating vehicles upon entry, and then you do not stop once you are within the circle. You can use your right signal to exit, and drivers should always yield to pedestrians and the crosswalk. Pedestrians, as seen in the blue lines, use the sidewalks and crosswalks and can expect drivers to yield to them. Cyclists may track over either the pink or the blue lines. They can use the roadway like a vehicle, taking the entire lane and entering and following all the rules of the roundabout as if they were a vehicle, or they may dismount and use the sidewalk as if they were a pedestrian. Roundabouts are becoming increasingly popular in Connecticut because of the success they have had as a tool for reducing crashes and alleviating congestion. There are approximately 15 roundabouts constructed or endorsed by the Connecticut Department of Transportation, 10 more in design or construction, and many more in the planning phases. The proposed roundabout in Woodbury is located at the red circle shown on the map. The nearest constructed roundabouts are in Seymour at the intersection of Route 188 and 344, and in New Milford on Still River Drive. Roundabouts have become an effective tool for reducing crashes at intersections through the use of speed control measures, as well as the reduction in intersection conflict points inherent with roundabout design. A conflict point is a point where possible vehicle paths at an intersection can come into conflict with each other. So let's consider every possible vehicle movement for a normal crossing intersection. The crossing conflicts shown with a red dot have the highest chance for injury. If we look at the graphic on the bottom left, we have 8 diverging conflicts and 8 merging conflicts. We also have 16 possible crossing conflicts where any turning movement can come into conflict with another turning movement. Overall, a conventional intersection has 32 possible vehicle conflict points. The graphic on the bottom right shows the conflict points for a roundabout. There are a total of 4 diverge and 4 merge conflict points, and there are no potential crossing conflict points. These are the conflict points with the highest chance for injury. There's a total of 8 conflict points within a roundabout. Converting a conventional crossing intersection to a roundabout in Connecticut has yielded an 80% reduction in severe crashes and a 50% reduction in overall crashes. A reduction in crashes consistent with these statewide performance measures is expected for this location in Woodbury. The potential for high-speed angle crashes would be very significantly reduced. This graphic shows the impacts that could be expected in order to construct a roundabout at this location. Minor widening outside of the existing pavement area is anticipated on the west and south corners and is shown in yellow in the graphic. Disturbed area that will be landscaped or have grass established is shown in green. Existing drainage pipes, catch basins, and inlets and outlets that will require modifications are shown in blue. Construction duration is expected to be 1 construction season between March and November. We have seen some more complex roundabouts require 1.5 years for construction. All traffic will be maintained during construction and will be sequenced properly to allow all traffic to continue throughout the duration of construction. It is anticipated that 3 utility poles will require relocation offset from their current location. These 3 poles are indicated by the pink dots. Overhead illumination will also be installed to provide adequate visibility to the roundabout by approaching vehicles. Lumineers will be installed near the ends of the splitter islands, as well as by the pedestrian crossings and by the circulatory roadway. The red dashed lines show the state property line along Route 6 and Route 61. The pink dashed line shows the town property line along Quassapaug Road. No private property impacts are anticipated. Minor rights to grade, slope easements, drainage rights, and construction easements may be required as design progresses. The 2 conceptual designs that are under consideration have distinct pros and cons associated with each design approach. Let's take a moment to review the differences. Design option 1, which involves improvements to the stop control intersection layout. would require no pavement widening and minimal impact outside of the existing pavement area. This design also provides an opportunity for significant sightline improvements. This project would have a short construction duration and no property acquisitions are anticipated. Overall, this is a low impact, low complexity project. A major disadvantage of this design is that it does not significantly reduce the potential for high-speed angle crashes. A reduction in crashes would be anticipated. However, the possibility of high-speed crashes would remain. The total construction cost for this design option is estimated at $2 million, and the total project cost is estimated at $2.5 million. Design option 2 involves the construction of a modern roundabout. This design option would provide a significant countermeasure to reduce high-speed angle crashes that are resulting in injuries. This design would provide a speed control measure along Route 6. A roundabout would provide a level of speed calming throughout the corridor. Shorter sightlines are needed for vehicles entering a roundabout. The lower speeds at a roundabout require shorter sightlines, which limits the need for extensive clearing. A roundabout also provides an opportunity for aesthetic improvements and a town gateway. No property acquisitions are anticipated with this design option. One disadvantage of the roundabout option is that it is a higher cost project with a longer construction duration. The total estimated construction cost for a roundabout is approximately $4 million. Total engineering costs are estimated at $800,000, and the total project cost is estimated at $4.8 million. The Connecticut Department of Transportation's Project Development Unit has presented to you 2 conceptual design options up for consideration. At this time, we welcome all comments, questions, and feedback regarding this proposed project.
Thank you, Ed. Good evening, everyone. As previously noted, my name is Jennifer Usher, and I will be the MC tonight for tonight's question and answer session. Thank you all for attending tonight's presentation. As indicated, we are in the preliminary phases of this project, and we want to engage the public and make sure that any questions, comments, or concerns you may have are heard and considered. That being said, there are multiple ways to submit questions or comments should you have them. The first is by email, and again, that address is DOT-PP-168-003 at ct.gov. The second is by phone. You can leave a voicemail at 860-944-1111. If possible, please include the project number or the location in your message. The third way you can contact us this evening is by utilizing the MS Teams live event chat. As a note, this function is only available during the live presentation. And with that, I will open up our Q&A session. And let's see if we have a question. We do. This one has come in through email, and they are asking who decides which alternative is chosen. I am going to hand that over to Ed Saborin with the Connecticut Department of Transportation.
Hi, good evening. This is Ed Saborin with the Connecticut Department of Transportation. The selection of a preferred alternative or preferred design is a collaborative effort between the DOT, the town, and the public feedback. The feedback and comments we receive here tonight as a result of this meeting will help determine the direction of the project. You know, the desires of the community and the commuters, it holds a high value in determining what will or will not be built. So let's hear the comments.
All right, thank you very much, Ed. Appreciate that. And let's see if we have some more questions coming in. This one is coming in from an anonymous source, and this person is asking, will a standard traffic light be considered for this intersection with the left turn lanes eastbound and westbound? And Ed, I'm going to hand that back over to you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Ed Saborin again, DOT. A traffic signal here is not being recommended, mostly due to the low amount of traffic on the side streets. Traffic congestion and vehicle delay are not a strong concern here. The traffic signals would be most effective at increasing the amount of traffic that an intersection can handle while trying to minimize the stops and delay. And signals are less effective at reducing all the crash types. So a signal could reduce some of the high-speed T-bone crashes through protected turning movements on the side streets, meaning Quassapaug Road and Route 61 would have a green light while Route 6 has a red light. But adding a signal here would likely create more rear end and sideswipe crashes along Route 6 and even on the side streets as well. There will always be people running the red lights. Traffic signals do not always solve the crash problem, and that is the purpose and the need of this project. We often replace existing signals that have a high crash rate with roundabouts. DOT has dedicated staff that review traffic signals for effectiveness and implementation on our state roads, and they are not recommending a signal at this location.
All right, very good. Hopefully that answers that person's question. Appreciate that, Ed. And oh, good, more questions are coming in. This person is asking, how about closing Quassapaug Road at Route 61 and moving it west to Swamp Road to intersect Route 6? And Ed, I'll hand that again off to you.
Yeah, this is an option that was briefly considered, but not studied in great detail yet. Quassapaug Road is a collector roadway, which serves some significance to our greater network. We also have to consider that all the vehicles we would be redistributing from Quassapaug Road onto Swamp Road would still have to make a turn onto Route 6 and then take another turn onto Route 61 if their original destination was to go straight through that existing intersection. This is a much bigger improvement that would have to take place and something that we'd have to study in much greater detail if there was a strong desire from the community to have this implemented.
Great, thanks again. All right, let's see. I think we've got another question coming in. And again, this is from an anonymous resident, and they are saying the biggest problem is the northbound and southbound traffic that wants to zip straight across Route 6. Sight distance is poor, and traffic on Route 6 is relatively high speed in both directions. So I don't believe there's an actual question there, but perhaps someone from the department just wants to comment on that.
Yeah, we acknowledge that speeding on Route 6 is a problem. That's the purpose of the project. The majority of what we're considering here is a speed control measure. So fortunately, with the stop control improvements, there is not much opportunity to reduce those speeds. We can only provide the best opportunity for vehicles on the side roads on Quassapaug Road and Route 61 to have safe turning movements either onto Route 6 or through the intersection. The roundabout option does provide a speed control measure. It's pretty much required in order to enter the roundabout to slow down from that 55 to 60 mile per hour speed we're seeing on Route 6 down to about 20 miles per hour. As the speed of the vehicles go down, drivers' decisions become better, safer, and overall the intersection starts experiencing less crashes and less severe crashes.
All right, very good. Yeah, I think that resident is certainly concerned with this intersection, and hopefully the two options you presented will help with that. Let's see, another question coming in. This person is asking, will lighting of the intersection be added? And if so, how will the neighbors feel about that? And again, I'm going to hand that over to Ed Saborin with DOT.
Yes, it is assumed that illumination or overhead lighting will be added. Typically, it's added at the ends of the splitter island, as well as near the pedestrian crossings and near the circulatory roadway as vehicles are entering the roundabout itself. There's also some up lighting, so that's lights that face upward to provide some visual strength to that center island. How neighbors will feel about it, that's a design detail that we can work through. They do not have to be installed at the ends of the splitter islands near our residential properties and our commercial properties. But that's certainly something we'll speak with the neighbors about.
Okay, just as a reminder, this is just the beginning of the public outreach that the department's doing. So as Ed noted, there'll be more coordination once an alternative is decided upon. Let's see. So just take a brief moment here. I just want to remind everyone, you can reach us through email, phone, or if you are joining us this evening with MS Teams Live, you can use the chat box. Just as a reminder, if you are joining us through YouTube, those live participants do not have access to the MS Teams live event chat, so you will need to submit your questions using either the email or the phone number. The email address, phone number, and a project webpage link can be found in the description there you see. And as a note, the webpage link is an active link. However, if you wish to send an email, you will need to copy and paste the email link into your preferred platform to send us an email. But we are monitoring all three right now. And let's see, we got another question coming in. This person is inquiring about how snow removal will be done, I guess, if a roundabout is chosen. And Ed, I'm going to hand that back over to you.
Yeah, snow plowing at a roundabout has become a pretty standard practice. You know, at first there were some general concerns for our maintenance personnel and those that operate the snow plows on exactly how it would be done. But you know, they've easily figured out a way. They have their own methods. They snow plow the truck apron as well and work their way from the inside out. Work their way up and down from the splitter islands, the entries and exit. It hasn't been a strong concern overall. We've had about 15 roundabouts constructed on state roads now, and the feedback we've received from plow drivers and maintenance personnel is that it hasn't been a big issue at all.
And Ed, feel free to correct me here if I'm wrong, but that plowing would be done by state forces, correct? Not town?
Correct. Yep. Route 6 is a state road as well as Route 61. The roundabout would be plowed by state forces. All
right, fantastic. Thank you for that answer. And let's see, another one coming in. This came in via email, and this is from a family. It's saying, to all concerned, I and my wife, Sally Roden-Timko, and my father-in-law, Andrew Roden, all of whom know the details of the mentioned fatality in 2018, feel that option 1 will not be effective. We all feel it will be effective in reducing speeds on Route 6, and we all are in favor of the roundabout option. This will force drivers to limit speed. We all feel this is a much safer option. We drive through this intersection often, several times a day. We also have young children riding with us at many times. The presentation given, I feel, clearly indicates the increased safety of the roundabout option. Sincerely, Dr. Brian Timko, MD. And I am going to just ask if someone from the department just wants to comment on that. I think this is kind of the purpose of the project. Oh, I'm going to hand that over to Marissa Paffinger of DOT.
Yes, good evening. Marissa Paffinger from DOT. So thank you for that comment. Hearing support for one alternative or another and the justification behind it, or any of your thoughts on either of the alternatives, is really the purpose of our presence here tonight. So we encourage you to continue to send in thoughts or questions about either alternative, one, both, support, or questions in general. So thank you for that.
Yes, I think we all appreciate the feedback. Definitely want to hear from the public and really get your opinion of what you think will work best here, because at the end, you guys know what happens out in that area. So, okay, we have we have another one coming in. This is coming in from Senator Eric Berthel, and he is asking, Route 6 is a United States highway. Does the feds need to be involved in the decision making? I'm going to hand that over back to Marissa Paffinger with DOT.
So yes, so for all of our Connecticut roadways that have federal involvement, our decision-making process is linked with the Federal Highway Administration. Generally, the selection of projects falls to the state DOT to look at different eligibility criteria, go through a public process similar to this, and ultimately arrive at the type of solution that's appropriate for the purpose and need, or whatever the particular type of problem that we're trying to solve. So while Federal Highway is involved, we do have a lot of latitude to decide where and how we do address these problems, but part of our design process does involve approval and review in certain cases by the federal highway agencies.
Thank you, Marissa. And I'm just going to take a quick second. I'm going to encourage all attendees, if you don't mind, taking a brief voluntary post-meeting survey at the end of this presentation. A link to that survey can actually be found on the project webpage. And this information that you provide us in the survey really does help us improve our public outreach on future presentations. Just please note that when you are taking the survey, there's a drop-down menu, and you'll just have to choose our project from that drop-down menu. So we would greatly appreciate that feedback if you don't mind taking a couple minutes. And I see another question from Senator Eric Berthel has come in, and he is asking, what is the time frame for making a decision and obtaining approval for the project? And let's see, I can hand that over to Ed Saborn or perhaps Marissa.
Sure, I can take this one. This is Marissa Paffinger again. So our comment period is open for up until April 15th. So it's during that time that we'll be accepting additional feedback for the different alternatives. Once we've reviewed everyone's feedback, there will be some internal review within the department to evaluate the different options and to make a decision. Once that decision is made, I would expect that to be within probably a 2-month time period. That's when we would be looking to obtain funding for the project and to move into a formal design phase.
All right, thank you, Marissa. I appreciate that. And let's see, do we have some more comments coming in or any more questions? So just as again, as a quick reminder, 3 ways to reach us this evening. You can reach us by email or phone, or this evening only, MS Teams chat will be open. The phone line as well as the project email is actually going to be open for the entire comment period, which will end on April 15th of this year. So if you think of something following this presentation, feel free to use one of those options to reach us. And let's see if we have any more questions that are coming in here. All right, let's just give everyone a few minutes. We want to make sure we give everyone an opportunity to ask any questions, voice concerns, provide any feedback that you guys may have. This is really the opportunity to do that. And just for those that are joining us via YouTube, again, unfortunately, you don't have the access to the MS Teams live event chat. However, you can certainly reach us using email or phone. So please feel free to do so with that. Okay, we have another person. This is really just a comment, it looks like, and this person is saying, I fully support the roundabout option. This will be the only real fix to this problem. So it seems like we do have a lot of supporters out there for the roundabout option. No, that's really fantastic. I know this tends to be kind of a little bit newer to those of us that live in the state of Connecticut, but as you know, Ed demonstrated, it really does provide a lot of good safety improvements. So if it's something the community favors, then that may be the way to go. I'm going to make a plug once more, if no one minds, just to fill out our survey at the end of this presentation. I promise it will only take a couple minutes, but we would really appreciate it. And again, that can be found at the project webpage, which is portal.ct.gov/DOT PP-168-003. If you go to that address, you will find more information about the project, as well as links to the survey and the email address. And I see we have another question that just came in. This came in from Heather Logue, and she is saying, wouldn't it be easier to pay one time for $4.8 million instead of $2.5 million, and then around about a couple years later, which would mean $7.3 million, the state would be saving money by doing the permanent fix instead of the first choice. So there's another person who's certainly in favor. And Marissa Paffinger, can I hand that to you?
Sure thing. Yep, Marissa Paffinger here again. So I think this commenter makes an interesting point that's actually applicable for both options. So with either the roundabout option or the alternative one that just proposes to modify the geometry, part of what we would do would be to continue to monitor how the crashes change over time to see what impact the different improvement has on the operations out there. As Ed noted in the presentation, we do have data about the efficiency and safety impact of roundabouts that have been installed within Connecticut. That 80% drop in serious injury crashes is actually specific to the roundabouts that have been installed within Connecticut. So part of what our process would be to look backwards over time. And if the first alternative is selected with only the stop signs and the crash pattern did persist, it is possible that we would then look to make a greater improvement, which could be the roundabout at that time. So considering those different options, also considering the difference in potential maintenance costs over time between the two options, certainly goes into the decision making as well.
Thank you, Marissa. I appreciate that. Let's see, we have another question that came in. This came in via voicemail, and it says, a resident feels that option 2 is the best option, and they are asking, do you agree? So I'm going to assume they are referring to CTDOT. And let me see, who can I hand that back over to? Let me hand it to Ed.
Yep, Ed Saborn, Connecticut Department of Transportation. So we have tonight proposed 2 options that are on the table. We have the lower impact, lower cost option, and then the more substantial improvement in the roundabout. It comes with a higher cost, but also comes with a bigger benefit. Each design has pros and cons. We've reviewed those fairly thoroughly, but this meeting tonight is mostly an opportunity for you, the public, to comment and voice your opinions. We've weighed the pros and cons, and we really need your feedback now.
Thank you, Ed. And I think we have another comment that's coming in from a resident. And again, this is through voicemail. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We have one that's coming in anonymously. And oh, great question. They are asking, how will the project be funded? And I will turn that over to Marissa Paffinger.
Yep. So for this project, Marissa Paffinger here, we would assume that this would be funded under our federal program. So when we do use federal monies, there is a split between federal and state funds. 80% of the cost would be paid with federal dollars, and a 20% share would be paid with state dollars. We would not expect there to be any local contribution, no contribution from the town of Woodbury. With that federal funding, there are a number of different types of funding, different buckets of funding opportunities that a project like this would fall into if it were the roundabout. There's also a couple different types of funding sources that would be eligible for option 1 as well. But in general, we would expect this improvement to be part of our federal program with that 80% federal, 20% state combination of funds.
All right. Thank you for that response. Again, as a reminder, you can reach us through email, phone, or if you have joined us through MS Teams, you can certainly use the chat. But if you've joined us with YouTube, you can only reach us through the email and the phone options. We have another question coming in, and this person is asking, how much time would deceleration and acceleration add to a Route 6 commuter trip through the roundabout? Very little, I hope, says this person. And let me hand that over to Ed Saborn with DOT.
Yes, you are correct. It would be very little. The amount of traffic along Route 6 and Route 61 Quassapaug Road is relatively low, especially for a roundabout. Roundabouts can handle an incredible amount of traffic. They do it efficiently. I would have to say the amount of time it would take you to decelerate, enter the roundabout, navigate through the roundabout, and then accelerate back up to a Route 6 speed would be somewhere along the order of 15 to 30 seconds. It really would not be much of a delay at all. Sometimes at roundabouts that are nearing capacity, very congested areas, there may be a car or 2 delay, maybe even more, up to 5. At this location, I wouldn't anticipate that a car trying to enter the roundabout would have to wait for maybe 1 or 2 cars that are circulating.
Thank you for that response, Ed. I appreciate that. And let's see, we have another question that came in. This came in through email, and oh, excuse me, this is just a comment. And this person is just saying that they believe that the modern roundabout is certainly the best option. So there we go, just another supporter for option 2. And we have another question. This one's coming in from Alan G. And he says, so as shown, there seems to be more than enough non-private property to make the roundabout. Is that correct? And let me hand that over to Ed Saborn with DOT.
Yep, so I've pulled up the slide here that shows the state property lines. Those are the red lines, and then the pink property lines. Those are the town property lines. As you can see, the green area would be the extent of any disturbed area, and it fits quite easily within the state property and the town property lines. The final alignments of the roads and even the center circle may get shifted a little bit during design as they just kind of tweak the design and try to provide the best design possible. But even with any movement of this layout, it would still be anticipated that would be well within the property lines.
Once again, Ed, thank you very much. And take our next question here in just a minute as our moderator puts it up. There we go. This person is asking, will the size of the circle need to be larger due to the speed on Route 6? And again, I'm going to pass that over to Ed Saborn with DOT.
The size of the circle is more dependent on the size of vehicles that would be entering, the largest vehicles. So that's a tractor trailer with about a 53-foot bed. We call them WB62s. The circle itself is designed for that size tractor trailer. The speeds on Route 6 are controlled. The reduction in speed is more controlled by the length of the splitter island. So the splitter islands themselves would be about 200 feet long. That's a good distance to give drivers enough time to understand that there's a roundabout ahead, have the curvature that's built into the splitter island design slowly decelerate the vehicle down to about 20 miles an hour. So the size of the circle is mostly dependent on the size of the vehicles that would be navigating the roundabout.
Thank you, Ed. And let's see, we have another question coming in from Heather Logue, and I'm sorry, it's a comment again, and she is just saying again that she supports the second option 100%. Thank you, Ms. Logue. We really appreciate that feedback, and that's a consideration that the department will take when moving forward with this project. And let's see, Senator Eric Berthel says, I live about 2 miles from this intersection. The roundabout option would be a tremendous improvement and I fully support it. Thank you thank you for this very meaningful presentation. Well, thank you very much, Senator. I think both Edward Saborin and Marissa Pappinger really appreciate that feedback. I know they've both been working a lot on this presentation and this project itself, just trying to bring the best options to the community. And let's see, we have another question that came in. This is from an anonymous person, and they are saying, are there any other options besides the roundabout? Option 1 is not worth the time. However, not fond of roundabouts. The 2 roundabouts in Glastonbury are quite stressful to drive through when I visit my mother. And let me see, I can turn that over to Ed Saborn with DOT.
So we go through a preliminary phase of our concept development where we really look at it as like a blank slate, an open canvas, and determine what the purpose of the need of the project is and any possible solutions that we could implement. The 2 main solutions that we found here, removing the median islands and the channelized right turns, simplifying the geometry of the existing stop controlled intersection, or the roundabout. No other options really presented themselves readily available to us. If anybody out there has any suggestions, certainly drop them in our chat or our email or at the phone number. That is the dual purpose of this meeting, is to open this conversation up to any other ideas that were not presented tonight.
Very good. Thanks again. All right. We have a question or comment that came in by email that says, it's from Beth and Carl Simon. Please forgive me if I have not pronounced your name correctly, but they say, we are the owners of the abutting property and we are fully in favor of the safest option, the roundabout. A lot of supporters for the roundabout here, and I'm so impressed by the turnout for this presentation. This is fantastic to see a community like Woodbury really kind of come together and provide this type of feedback. I know the department really appreciates it. So, and we have someone, anonymous person, just saying, I also totally support the roundabout option. My husband and son were involved in an accident at that intersection as well. All right. And we'll give everyone just a few more minutes. I think we got some more questions coming in. Yep, certainly do. This one's coming in through email. And this person says, over the years, my family has been involved in 2 crashes at this intersection. No one was seriously hurt in either one, but that was lucky. Both involved cars crossing Route 6. The first option does not seem to address the issue. So I am going to, well, I don't want to make any assumptions, but that person certainly does not seem to be in favor of option 1, and perhaps they are in favor of option 2.
So Jennifer, I'm just going to jump in here actually just for a sec. This is Marissa Pappinger again. So one of the things that I just want to note about our coming to the public here is that we do very truly appreciate residents and people who are familiar with the area sharing these personal details with us about their experiences with these intersections. One of the things that we know as designers is that we are not the people that live in the community and drive through the neighborhood every day. And so when we do have people such as yourselves come and participate in these meetings and share these details with us, it really helps us to understand the real concerns of the folks that would be living with the improvements. So again, I just want to really thank you all for participating tonight and for sharing your feedback and comment, and ultimately sharing your personal experiences with the intersection. It does help to really paint an accurate picture above and beyond just the statistics and details that we're able to gain from the engineering side.
Those are all really good points, Marissa. Thank you. And I am just noticing in that last email that we received just regarding the family that has experienced 2 crashes at that intersection, there does seem to be a little bit more to their email there that I'm seeing now, and perhaps we can get it published. But I'd just like to add that they said, I think the biggest problem is that Route 6 is downhill in both directions heading into that intersection. Route 6 drivers just have trouble slowing down. So therefore, they're saying the roundabout option is the best way to slow people down in their opinion. So I apologize for not quite catching that, and we'll try to get that into the chat. Oh, there we go. Our moderator, Quinn Duffy, just put that in. Thank you. And let's see, another comment is coming in, and this person is saying, I am very much in support of the roundabout option. I regularly travel through the roundabouts in New Milford and Seymour and feel that they are significantly safer and less stressful. Another resident from our community weighing in. And let's see, this one, we have question coming in from voicemail, or via voicemail, and this person is asking, how will you acknowledge traffic coming from all 4 directions for the roundabout? Let's see, I'm gonna hand that over to Ed Saborin with DOT.
Yep, Ed Saborin with DOT. I'm having a little difficulty interpreting the question, but as far as acknowledging the traffic coming from all 4 directions, it is understood that there is volume coming from Route 6 heading westbound, Route 6 heading eastbound, as well as Quassapaug Road heading northbound, and Route 61 coming southbound. I can flip to the roundabout itself. So each leg has its own independent entry. They enter the roundabout and circulate in the direction that the arrows are showing, and then exit at the appropriate exit for whichever leg they're trying to take. So every roadway that enters the roundabout has an opportunity to exit the roundabout. There is signage along all 4 legs that show you which road you would be turning on as you enter and exit the roundabout.
Thank you, Ed. And this is probably a good time just to let everyone know that since the email and the phone number will be open until April 15, if your question wasn't adequately answered, or again, if you have more questions, you would like someone at the department to contact you following this presentation, you can certainly leave your message or send us an email, provide your contact information, and someone from the DOT will get back to you to answer your question. So thank you very much. And let's see, Alan G has a comment here, and he is saying, I agree 100% with Ms. Logue. The cost would be more beneficial in the long run. I am all in favor of the roundabout. And let's see, we have a couple people that look like they are liking that post. So again, more in favor of the roundabout. Thank you, Alan. And again, we have another person weighing in on this, saying the roundabout is the most sensible option considering the goal is to reduce accidents. A lot of supporters out there for the roundabout option. Not a whole lot I'm seeing for option 1. So this is great feedback we're getting. Really appreciate it. Again, I'm just I'm amazed by the amount of people that have come out from the community, taking time out of their evening to join us. So again, thank you so much. You have no idea how much we appreciate this. This is really what the department needs to move forward with a solid plan to address any of the concerns out there. And let's see, Alan G, just noting, living very close to the intersection, I have seen a lot of accidents at this intersection. The roundabout would be the safest and best option. Ellen is a big proponent of the roundabout, everyone, so fantastic, thank you. All right, and let's see, this one's coming in from Anonymous saying the slide showing the contact points was the most effective at showing what the problems are. Perhaps we could just bring up that slide if you wouldn't mind, Ed. I think that was probably a good slide just to perhaps reshare. Oh, there we go. And Ed, do you want to just kind of maybe summarize that? Yeah, please go ahead.
This is a very effective visualization to understand just how many possible conflict points are reduced when taking a conventional intersection, which you're seeing on the bottom left, and converting it to a roundabout on the bottom left. All those red conflicts, those are the crossing conflicts. They have the highest chance for injury, especially at this location. A lot of those crossing conflicts are with high-speed traffic. Once we move over to the visualization on the bottom right, with the roundabout, those crossing conflicts basically disappear, and it's just a merge and a diverge at each of the 4 legs. And there is no opportunity for a high-speed crossing conflict anymore.
Yeah, it's fantastic to kind of highlight that. And I will just let everyone know that is attending tonight's presentation. For those of you who may have family, friends, neighbors that were interested in seeing this presentation, but perhaps were unable to attend tonight, just please know that this is all being recorded and it will be available for viewing on YouTube basically within 24 hours. To find that link, just go to the project webpage that you see up on your screen there. That's the portal.ct.gov/DOT Woodbury PP-168-003. So again, you can find the link to the recorded video from there, as well as the project email and more information just regarding the project. And we have a comment coming in from via voicemail, and this just says, another resident is in support of the roundabout option. Thank you very much. And let's see, more coming in via voicemail. This one is a comment from a resident that lives 1 mile north from the intersection. They are saying that they are not in favor of the roundabout. They believe it is overkill for this intersection, and it says he believes that Quassapaug needs to be elevated. So I'm assuming he's referring there to Quassapaug Road that intersects Route 6 and 61. Ed, do you want to provide some comments on that?
Yeah, raising Quassapaug as a possible design solution, so that would raise the driver's eye level. There is some conflict in the sightline with the vegetation and the existing guide rail there. They can both obscure the sightlines coming from Quassapaug Road. Under the design option 1, that is a modification that could be added to the design to actually raise the point at which the drivers coming off Quassapaug Road are looking onto Route 6. That certainly could be considered.
All right, thank you for that response, Ed. And again, that was Ed Saborum with DOT. We'll give everyone just a few more minutes. We want to make sure we're, oh, there we go. Yep, another comment coming in. This is by email, and this person is saying, I traveled a similar intersection in Granby where a roundabout had been installed or was installed, and this greatly improved the intersection. I think that's another proponent of the roundabout or option 2. Just take a minute to remind everyone that the comment period will be open until April 15th. You can reach the department by email or by phone. Tonight's MS Teams chat will only be available this evening, and it will close down after this presentation, but you'll still have 2 options to reach the department should you have additional questions and or comments that you want them to take into consideration. And let's see. Oh, and thank you, Quinn. She just put a copy of the project webpage address right in the chat there. So again, those of you seeing this on MS Teams, you can probably just click right on that link. And that will bring you not only to the survey that I hope you'll take a couple minutes to take, but it will also give you some more information about the project as well as links to the project email. I'll just give everyone just a couple minutes, but again, we really appreciate you guys taking your time or taking time out of your evening to join us and listen about this project. And we're really hoping that we're going to find an improvement that, you know, works for most people, you know, the best that we can do here. So we appreciate your feedback. And let's see, do we have any other questions coming in? Give it a minute. And it looks like, oh, this came in through email. And okay, just another resident just saying that they are in favor of the roundabout. All right. Well, we do want to just thank everyone. I really appreciate your time. So thank you all for attending tonight's presentation. Just as indicated, we are in the preliminary phase of this project. Really do appreciate you taking time out of your evening to learn more about this project and provide us with the feedback. And if you do just have a couple minutes and can take that post-meeting survey, we would greatly appreciate it. We're in this virtual platform now due to the pandemic, so we're trying to do our best to get this information out, make sure that we give the public an opportunity to weigh in on these projects that DOT is working on, and any feedback you can give us, you know, basically good or constructive, we would appreciate, because this is a big part of the project that we do. So thank you again. I'd like to thank Marissa Paffinger as well as Ed Saborin for their time working on this project. And with that, we will bring it to a close. Have a good evening.